Hi, I'm Ed Tane McGlasson, and welcome to Blessing of the Father Ministries. We have this very special gift back with us, Mary Perot. And last week we were talking about your just kind of instant family where you had 3 boys without stretch marks. And I started thinking to myself, and you probably bet you, if you saw our show, you're going, how in the world did she do that?
We're not quite sure.
No, not quite sure. And so here's my question for you. How do you stay centered as a mom with challenging kids? You probably got some challenging kids out there. This is going to be a great show for you today. So Mary, how do you stay centered?
That's a really good question. So I think the first thing that I've learned to do, and I want to be really clear on saying I've learned to do this because it's taken me a lot of time to adjust. But I think the first thing is being really clear about who I am personally as a mom, a woman, what my job is, what my role is, who I am in the Lord as God's beloved daughter, and what my purpose is. So not just who I am, but also what my purpose is. And I think when you can be really clear about who you are in the Lord, it's a lot easier to do your job without the stress and the striving. Because one of the things that I've noticed about other parents around me and myself as well. So here's a little bit of insight for people those of you who have kids who are challenging kids, I should say. Or you're adoptive parents, or you have kids with special needs or things like that. You're going to know exactly what I say right here. I hope you feel validated. For those of you who don't, when you have kids with special needs or that are just have unique challenges, you just can't find your sense of worth or value in them because they will disappoint you every single day. Not because not because of who they are, but just because you go to the playground and they have special needs and unique challenges. They aren't going to make you look like a great, amazing parent.
That's right.
They're going to say things or do things. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, what did you just say? What did you just do? I'm so embarrassed. Because we take naturally their behavior as a reflection of ourselves, and we think,
You ever done that out there?
Right.
I have so many times.
So, I mean, that's why I want to be really clear that if you're a parent of a special needs child, then you know this. You can't make that your self-worth about that because your kid unwittingly, I mean, they're not doing it on purpose, but they're just not going to make you look like a great parent. And there's so many other parents that I've noticed, people who've been blessed with biological children, that without realizing it, they take their children's behavior as a personal reflection of who they are. So maybe God blessed you with an amazing child, a total angel baby who just, is always,
genetically superior because they're mine. That's right.
If they're yours, they're the best on the football field,
they're
right?
best. Or
if they're my sisters, they naturally smell like sugar and cinnamon.
That's
they're
exactly
just
right.
precious in every way. And you look at them and you go, without realizing it, of course, but you think to yourself, I am such a great parent. Other people come up to you and say, how do you do it? And you're like, well, I just, So it's really hard because I think a lot of parents don't realize that, some kids are just a little bit easier than others, but it doesn't matter whether you have an easy one or not. Your kid's behavior is not always a reflection of who you are as a person or how you're doing as a parent.
That's right. That's a principle that we actually wrote together in a brand new series called Blessing of the Father for Families. And that is, if you think about it, my worst days as a father happened when I made my identity about the performance of my kids.
Right.
Well, let's say they have a great day. Then you are an amazing parent, and you send out flyers to let everybody know how great of a dad you are.
Right.
But when they have those moments that you are going, did you take your brain with you today when you went to school? What were you thinking? And that overreaction that we have many times is tied in to that identity piece. So what I'm hearing from you is that you got to get really clear from God every day about who Mary is.
Yeah. And that's been the challenge to learn that is, I mean, as I know who God's made me to be, and I I've been walking with the Lord for a while, so I feel like there's parts of that I kind of have down. But when you're repeatedly having these challenges, you kind of start to wonder and feel like, man, am I really getting this right? Am I doing this right? So one of the things, going back to your original question, that I've done is, I mean, I try and spend time in the Word and pray every day. It doesn't always happen, but I do my best to kind of make that happen. But also just, I really try and have that mindset and just remembering that God has not called me to create and produce perfect children. My salvation is not based on whether or not my kids grow up to be pastors or even believers at all. I hope and pray to God they do come to know the Lord. But that's not, the outcome is not my job.
That is so good.
My job is just to plant the seeds, provide them with what God's given me. The ways that He's blessed me, I bless them. The ways that He's forgiven me, I forgive them. The ways He's been gracious to me, I be gracious. I am gracious to them. I try. This is not happening every day, but I'm doing my best. But as you're doing those things, I just keep reminding myself the outcome of this is not my job. Just like what God's called us all to be farmers of seeds, and when we plant seeds, it's not the farmer's job to bring the rain or to make sure that the seed grows. His job is just to plant it and then let the Lord produce the fruit. And that's really helpful. And I want to just encourage anybody that has, struggled with this themselves.
Right.
Maybe you've had, your kid was, doing great in every way, and they hit age 8 and all of a sudden it's all fallen apart and you have no idea what happened. It's not really up to you to produce the perfect child or to have a child with perfect behavior all the time. Your job is just to do for them what God has done for you. Love them, bless them, forgive them, speak to them the way that God's spoken to you. And there's a lot of freedom in that. To just kind of...
it reminds me of something, is that your kids are always watching you on how you handle pressure. And if you just kind of stay stuck and make it about you as a parent, then they'll never get to see the gift of going, gosh, my dad's human. He just got mad at me and said some really terrible things. But then he came back into my room and said, son, would you forgive me for saying those things? Because, we teach our kids about forgiveness, about spending time with God, about prayer, about all the different things in our life. And so that's really powerful. I'm so glad you came on the show today. And thanks for joining us today. This is Blessing of the Father Ministries. And remember, the Father loves you and sent His Son to let you know. Check out the blog below, but also, if you get a special prayer request, send us an email to fathers@mac.com, and we will put it on the list and begin praying for your family. God bless you.